Now that we've discussed serial killer fiction in general, let's look specifically at Zombie by Joyce Carol Oates. First, I apologize. I know the novel is a little graphic and includes some foul language. I don't want to offend anyone, but this novel blows me away and has since the first time I read it. I had watched in horror as news clips showed those bodies being hauled out of Jeffrey Dahmer's house, and I was dumbfounded as to what could have possibly been going on in his mind that would allow him to do such horrible things. Oates theorizes an answer in Zombie. The source for this presentation is literary critic Philip K. Simpson. As discussed in the video on serial killer fiction, the killers are usually caught and punished, which helps us confront the free-floating fears of modern American culture and reassures us that there is order in the universe. But according to literary critic Philip K. Simpson, Quentin P., the serial killer in Joyce Carol Oates' novel Zombie, is not caught and punished by the end of the novel. In fact, his life is completely unchanged by his murder of Squirrel, just as it had been after he killed his other victims. Simpson says that the implication is that he will go on attempting to create a zombie, killing even more young men. This novel doesn't give horror fans the reassurance we seek. The killer is not caught, which may indicate that Oates believes that the cultural phenomena that are creating our free-floating fears are very much alive and active in the U.S. Oates' Quentin is somewhat based on serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer, according to Simpson. Simpson tells us that Oates drew heavily on Dahmer's father Lionel's attempt to grasp the magnitude of his son's actions. As Simpson points out, like Dahmer's victims, Quentin's victims are primarily gay black men. In addition, neither Dahmer nor Quentin are generally assertive men, but are driven to violent actions by their desire for men they couldn't get except through physical force, Simpson relates. Additional parallels, Simpson points out, are that both men had stilted, stiff relationships with their educated fathers, both were alcoholics, and both had been convicted of child molestation. But as Simpson explains, the parallels between Quentin and Dahmer do not indicate the Zombie is an attempted fictional biography of Dahmer, or that the stalking and murder of Squirrel is the story of Dahmer's interactions with the specific victim. Instead, Simpson states, it establishes that Oates is relying on a shared cultural experience. As we noted in discussing Where Are You Going, Where Have You Been, Oates often writes fictional works that are suggested by actual events as a method of attempting to comprehend a shared cultural experience and understand the societal influences that might have helped create it. Simpson states that Zombie presents a fictional inner life of an aimless, semi-educated, nondescript man. Acting out his sexual fantasies gives Quentin the power he can't experience in everyday life, according to Simpson. The title obviously refers to the zombie that Quentin attempts to create. But Simpson maintains that the title also refers to Quentin. Quentin paradoxically recalls and even admits to replaying periods of his life while denying that those same periods have any hold on him. Quentin is the zombie at this point, Simpson states. Quentin's medication has led to further flattening of what is already a flat affect, which is what psychologists call a lack of emotional response, Simpson points out, adding that the character's fantasy life is so powerful because his reality is flat and bleak. Simpson states that Quentin suffers from a variety of mental disorders and is hampered in social interactions because, as the character states, sometimes things happen too quickly for him to comprehend. We know his interactions are also hampered by his lack of understanding of true feelings. He fakes affection for members of his family by mirroring their signs of love, but he has no concept of the emotions behind the simple acts and signs of affection. But Oates chose to not have Quentin captured at the end of the novel. In spite of all Quentin's planning and the extremity of his action, his world doesn't change, as Simpson points out. Simpson, Stephen King, and other literary critics we've studied say horror works to reassure us that the evils we fear can be overcome, that there is order to the universe that can be restored by human actions. So, what does the lack of change in Quentin's world say about our culture? What does his not being captured say? Is Oates saying that there is no hope, that the actions of one human being can't affect the stresses that we are confronted with in modern American society? Is that true? And if it is, where do we go from here? That's the question I want to leave you with as we end our time together. I really hope this course has helped you understand that horror confronts us not with the fears of ghosts and serial killers, but with an understanding of the fears it encodes, the fears we face every day of our lives. Can we, as individuals and as a culture, confront and overcome the sources of our fear? Can we lay the ghosts to rest, use what we learn well, avoid dangers in our homes and communities, and conquer the cultural circumstances that cause free-floating fears? Where do we go from here? Well, all that's left is finishing up this unit and working on your papers. You know if I can help in any way, all you need to do is email me through Canvas. Thank you so much for all your hard work and the contributions you made to this course. I truly do appreciate it.